The race for the governorship election in Ekiti State is gradually taking shape following the conclusion of party primaries.
Yes, and come July the 14th, Nigeria's biggest political parties, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, would battle to secure the Ekiti governorship seat. And while the PDP, which currently holds sway in the state, will be battling to retain that seat, the APC will be battling to unseat the PDP.
Now, the contenders in this battle are no newcomers to the boxing ring, as they have fought, won and lost political battles in Ekiti. Kolapo Lushola, incumbent deputy governor of Ekiti State and Governor Fayoshe's anointed candidate, will be sparring with Minister of Mines and Steel, Kayode Fayemi.
Well, though not a contestant, Governor Fayoshe will feature prominently in this election, as he will again battle Fayemi, whom he unseated as governor in 2014. And since Fayemi's emergence as APC's flag bearer, Fayoshe has been taking shots at the minister, describing him as the candidate that Ekiti people love to vote against at all times.
Now, Fayemi, on the other hand, has promised to show Fayoshe and the PDP the way out of the Ekiti State Government House with a resounding victory. The battle line has been drawn and it's game on for both parties. But how far will the candidates go to secure victory? And which party will chant songs of victory come July the 14th?
Maybe that should be our starting point.
Oh,
Which
July
party
14th.
will carry the day come July 14th? Well, we have in the studio the Executive Director, Journalists for Democratic Rights, Adewale Adeoye. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, nice to see you.
Good morning.
Right. Well, it becomes a little more interesting now because we now know who the major candidates are, as the case may be. But let us go down to the issue of money first. I'll just start with money. We've reports credited to Fayemi at the time said that, well, I'm ready to match Fayoshe dollar for dollar. What would be the role of money, knowing that in the last election there was a stomach infrastructure, you remember all of those in Ekiti State? What would be the role of money in this election, first of all?
Well, money is very critical in any electoral process. You need money for logistics, you need money for mobilization, you need money for all sorts of things, even for security, and you cannot go to election without, a quantum of amount, in your pocket. But then we know that in Nigeria, there is issue of corruption in the electoral process. So, and I think a lot of people are worried about the fact that the system has been bastardized, that people have to be given a lot of money to vote for particular candidates. So I think this is an issue that we think a responsible government should tackle. But in terms of general terms, I mean, just speaking generally, there's no way you can go to election without, having a lot of money, in your pocket to, to spend for any post that you want to go for, even beginning from councillor. You have to print posters, you have to do billboards, and there's just no way you can. If you don't have money, you can't talk about seeking the position to be the governor.
Yeah,
but those are the ideals.
That's understandable.
But those are the ideals.
Yes.
But the extra mile of, how much did he give to you? He gave me 2,000. Okay, fine. I'm going to double it. I'm going to triple it. Those are the things we're talking about. Remember in the last election, there were allegations or there were reports or some reports that monies were carried, soldiers and all of that carried. The role of money in the last Ekiti governorship election. We have that in the records. Well,
it's a known secret that the Nigerian political system is corrupt. And the fact that even on election day, voters are giving money, to swing, their opinion. And I think we have to admit the fact that it's a major cancerous problem, in the political system, which is yet to be addressed either by the PDP or the APC. So
or even INEC, that's the umpire, that really should be the one.
Yeah,
monitoring
all the security institutions, need to rise up to this major challenge, because you can't have a system where candidates emerge, because they were able to bribe electorate, and then you expect that kind of system to be credible. Once a candidate emerges from using a corrupt pedestal, there's no way such a candidate will expect to meet the aspirations of the public. You know, so but generally speaking, there's no way you can have contest, you know, electoral contest without a lot of money being invested into it.
Absolutely. But Shaguni, one of the contestants in the Ekiti APC primary, actually said that money played a big role in this Guba primaries. And as a matter of fact, virtually all the aspirants were guilty of it. According to him, it's not going to continue going forward. How that's going to be stopped is left, you know, for time to unravel. But let's come back to the race between the PDP and the APC. It's going to be a tight one, really tight. But some would even tell you that Kolapo Olushola is not really the person that Ifeanyi would be battling against, but Fayose. But then again, that would depend on exactly what the people of Ekiti want. You covered the primaries and all of that. You've been on ground. To your mind, what do you think the people of Ekiti want in such a way that it will reflect in the way they cast their ballots come July 14?
Well, I think we must admit the fact that it's not going to be an easy battle. Not so much because the government has performed, you know, but because of certain circumstances.
Like?
For instance, the Fayose has a very strong grip on the political structure, on its political structure. We don't have much division in the PDP compared with the APC. So there is a rallying point, you know. He has a firm grip, you know, he instills fear, you know, in his aides, and people worship him like God, like a mini God.
Does that grip extend to the electorate? Who are the people who matter the most at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Do they still want stomach infrastructure? Are they saying, are they saying, look, we're done with this stomach infrastructure, it's time for us to develop?
Yeah, so it's like there is no dissenting voice within the PDP. But then election is going to go beyond that. People want to look at what has Fayose done in the past, you know, 4 years, apart from media hype, because he's very good in propaganda. And then you have to, apart from, I've spoken about his strength, we also have to look at his weaknesses. The biggest asset of Mr. Fayose, all the elections he has contested, is the federal might. When he came in, it was by the grace of General Olusegun Obasanjo in 2003. And, you know, he won only, he was able to lead in just 4 local governments. The former governor at that time, Adebayo, won in 12 local governments. There were a lot of manipulations that went into that election. And in fact, in 2014, it was also by the grace of the federal might. There were about 35,000 security operatives posted to Ekiti State. People were captured, people were arrested, people were abducted. People going to their villages, their homes, they were abducted on the way. The money meant for logistics and all sorts of things were collected from them. So many of these leaders couldn't even get to their homes, to their villages, to their communities to mobilize their people to vote. There was a kind of a siege mentality imposed on the Ekiti people, a state of trauma. And it was within this contest that Mr. Fayose emerged as governor. And of course, prior to that election of 2014, his major campaign was that I will be declared. I will be declared. I shall be declared. There was no economic roadmap, but he was just confident that the government of the day was going to give him that power at all costs, even at gunpoint. And you don't also forget.
But Fayose has been patting himself on the back, saying, look, before I came back, Ekiti was not doing well when it comes to education. But right now,
when it comes to
education, right now, consistently for the last 3 or so years since he's been there, Ekiti has come first when it comes to the WAEC.
It's not possible.
And he will list other things too that he believes he has achieved.
It's not possible for a governor to come to power just this year, and then automatically there will be a paradigm shift in the results. It's a cumulative result. You know, it's a cumulative effect of what has taken place over the past 4 years. Don't forget there are about 185 public schools that were touched in terms of renovation, provision of laptops for about 25,000 students and teachers that contains a lot of syllabus, and then 885 public primary schools that were short only the period of the 4 years that the APC was in government. So immediately it came to power, there was that kind of the cumulative impact. Teachers were, in fact, there was special allowance 20%. If you teach English or mathematics, you'll be given a special allowance. If you are posted to rural areas, you'll be given special allowance. This thing take place. There was a kind of institutional plan, a framework to change the
So
face.
he just came to benefit from what was on ground. Okay.
You know, if you are looking at in terms of renovation of schools in Ekiti State, he has done practically nothing with a debt of 56 billion that is even trying to contain. He left, he came with, he has doubled, almost, doubled the debt that he made in that state. And if you look at that 4 years, the only thing you can point to is the bridge that's just about 0.9 kilometers. It's not even up to 1 kilometer. And then the market that was able to build after 4 good years. There is no institutional framework. It's a government that acts on instinct. There is no procedure. There is no architectural design for the development of that state. In fact, the little industry that we have in that state that will employ people, the red brick industry at Ire has collapsed. The Gosi water that even people used to drink in Lagos has collapsed. The Ekogosi project that I think in 2013 attracted 20,000 visitors from all over the world. A world-class tourist center, has been destroyed. So practically there is no roadblock apart from media hype, propaganda, and then photo opportunism. If we go and meet somebody frying Gary, we take picture. Then the next thing is to put it on social media, exploiting the vulnerability, the poverty of the people for political gains. And I think that is not how the kind of leadership that we want for Ekiti State. Normally when you want to get a contract in Ekiti State, there is, there is a process. You have the tenders board and all that. Those things don't work any longer. In Ekiti State, you can't say this is the person in charge of tenders board. It is built around one person. And I think it would be good for Nigeria to think about building institutions instead of building individuals that are emperors.
So in other words, what you're saying is that what has gone on under Fayose has been
it's an illusion. It's
illusion
workers,
and dictatorial democracy.
Yeah, it's owing workers 6 months. The House of Assembly is just a rubber stamp. It goes there in military uniforms and addresses. I mean, this is in fact the lowest kind of moral, standard. That what can ever. Don't forget that in 2011, when he contested for the Senate, what was the result? Because there was no federal might. He scored 29,000. He was defeated by Ojudu, who scored 63,757, almost triple. The figure that he got. So this man has never contested on a fee that is equal, on a fair play. It has only been manipulation and intrigue.
All right, but you said earlier on that he has a grip, a strong grip of the structures in Ekiti State.
Yes.
And on the other hand, one way or the other, people still like the way he does it because of the stomach infrastructure thing you talked about, which has lots of impact. Now, Fayemi is coming back in. Some analysts have said that he has studied, he has studied the situation and known how important the stomach infrastructure has been. So, coming in now, being the minister, in the current minister in the government now, do you think there's going to be, or what do you think about the federal might, the federal factor in his election in Ekiti State?
Which is what some of his co-aspirants complained about, that he had an unfair advantage over the rest of the 32 contestants.
Well, there were a lot of contradictions in the primaries, which, gave a lot of us concern. Because Ekiti State is located in the southwest. For me, in terms of who becomes the governor should be the business of people in the southwest. Shouldn't be the business of people in Sokoto or Kaduna. We are Yoruba people, Ekiti is part of the cobweb that you can't pull it without affecting the regional network. So I think it should be the business of regional leaders here. And that's part of the problems we have in Nigeria. People trying to, detect, the kind of political structure for, other people. So I think that problem came up during the primary. But I think now that the primary is over, the bigger picture is how the APC is going to reclaim Ekiti State and bring back Ekiti State within the fold of other.
That's the point.
Or how the PDP is going to retain and maintain what they have.
Yeah. So we must admit that the Ekiti election is also going to be a test of strength between the PDP and the APC. Because this is the first major election before the presidential election. So the federal government is going to be quite interested. The PDP will also be interested. So I expect him to get a lot of assistance from Rivers State, Bayelsa and all that, they see this thing as a kind of assist test for the future of their party. And we must also admit that Fayose has one thing to his advantage, which is a disadvantage for the APC. The crack in the APC may be to his advantage because when we are talking about federal might, we're talking about the presidency and then the National Assembly.
Yeah.
I've seen a situation where the National Assembly, because of the kind of leadership there, that is more or less controlled by the PDP, they try to manipulate a lot of things, and they will like to also rise up to the occasion of Ekiti, and probably to ensure that they subvert, the aspiration of President Buhari, to ensure that a party that is not advance its goal will lose, will not win in the. So they are most likely that the National Assembly leadership will like to support, the
PDP,
the Fayose, even though they are still in APC. So it means that the APC must understand the game and must be able to rise up to this occasion. That is not an election that anybody will just stand aloof and not care about what happens. The federal government and the APC and PDP must know that this is a contest between the two parties, and if the PDP wins, it's going to be a kind of opening up the road to incursion into other southwest states. It's also going to be a test of integrity for the vice president, who is from this part of the country.
Well, Odige Oyegun, the chairman of the APC, has said that the Ekiti governorship election is a must-win for the APC.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, the PDP has said even if Buhari is INEC returning officer, APC will lose. I mean, this is very, very interesting.
Really interesting.
So you see a lot of confidence on both sides. And
Well,
you wonder exactly what, why so much confidence on either side. It's either the PDP saying we have performed so well that the people of Ekiti State would want to give us another go at it, or that APC is believing the PDP has done absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Just almost re-echoing what you have laid out before us here already.
Well, I think it boils down to the importance attached to Ekiti election, even though it's a very small
Why
state.
is Ekiti so important?
Well, Ekiti is an agrarian society, and it has, if you look at the history of the Southwest, Ondo and Ekiti, they have always been quite critical, in terms of Southwest politics. You have a very high number of educated people there, and I think what happens in those two states usually have a kind of spillover effect. Forget about the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos. Those are the real agrarian societies that represent the culture, the custom, the heritage of Yoruba people. So if you can take Ekiti and Ondo, and Oyo and Osun, you are more or less,
you've taken the
you've
Southwest.
taken the entire Southwest. And if you look at what in the 60s, for instance, the youth wing of Action Group was led by Fasomi and then Professor Akintoye, who are both from Ekiti State. Look at what happened in '83. The resistance in Ondo State, that time it used to be Ondo and Ekiti State. It was that thing that actually snowballed into, the coup and all sort of things. So whatever happens in those two states, you should usually have ripple, effect.
All right.
On
you mentioned earlier on that states like Rivers and Bayelsa are going to play or could play a very prominent role in because when it comes to what people call oil money, the monies will be flowing in as far as PDP is concerned. On the other hand, people are also feeling and seeing that a lot of money is going to flow from Abuja into Ekiti. So money is going to be all over the place. But bringing it back to the issue of INEC, what should INEC be looking at now to ensure that they put in place structures, they put in place framework that the emphasis on money should be de-emphasized in this election?
I think it's quite unfortunate that successive governments have not shown interest in tackling this problem. Because when you go to the field on the day of election, it's open. You see people exchanging money and all that. And we cannot build a great country when the electoral system is based and nurtured by corruption, where people have to vote because they have been given money to sell their future for the porridge of today. So I think it will be better for us to look at the situation where the election in Ekiti State will be free and fair, that it will reflect the supreme will of the people. If people are talking about, the election has to be determined by money, then it's quite unfortunate. What I think can sustain this country, stability, progress, and the wealth of the wealth of nations, is for us to build a system that will, command public respect and global, reputation.
Now, when you look at the body language of both sides, would you say that there will be a need for a massive deployment of security agents like it was done in the last election where you had 35,000 or so security, boots on ground in Ekiti.
Well,
will there be a serious need for that?
Well, to be very fair, let's look at what happened in Ondo State. Compare with when the PDP was in power. I don't think we can confidently say that there was so much state-induced violence in Ondo State, where people were killed, the rights of people were trampled upon, like what happened in Osun State in 2014, where the militants came with sophisticated guns in military uniforms, putting on slippers who claimed to be soldiers. So we didn't have that kind of situation in Ondo State, though there are other problems. So I think there is going to be deployment of heavy security, probably to tame a tiger that, depends on violence, whose tradition can be associated with a lot of violence and intrigue. So, but I don't foresee a situation where people's rights and dignity will be taken away from them.
Would we also need some kind of peace accord from both sides, like we've had in the past elections?
But I can tell you that Mr. Fayose has been boxed to the corner, and that's why it's running from pillar to pole. His own workers, people have discovered through, his intrigues, his game plan, and then he knows this is his last battle. It's not Electoral that is fighting the battle; it's him, because he needs somebody to cover his track. And if he loses that election, he's in big trouble. And I think it's likely that he's going to lose that election.
In the papers
most
yesterday,
certainly will lose it.
In the papers yesterday, there was a story of a revelation of about 1.6 billion naira linked to him from Dasuki. So it looks like a legal issue or illegal issue waiting for him if it's through. But let's go back to the issue of other political parties. Yeah. They seem to be just about PDP and APC.
Yeah, other parties are non-existent.
Are there any other political parties there contesting?
It's quite unfortunate because the two parties in Ekiti State, in fact, all over the country, at the time we had Labour Party, but Labour Party is virtually, maybe ABGA. In Ekiti State, it's only two political parties. And I think it's quite unfortunate that at this period, in our civilization, only two political parties will be contending, for space. So we can blame the political parties. Probably they are not doing enough. They have given up. They have assumed that, look, it's a hopeless situation, that only these two parties. I think we need, people that can also challenge the status quo, come out with better ideas, come out with better programs, do door-to-door campaigns, because Rome is not, was not built in a day.
Exactly.
So you may not win today, but you can make an impact. People have lost that, that hope, that they just think the only way you can win elections is to have billions in your account and all that.
Is it just a loss of hope or loss of ideology or, ideological frame of mind that, I mean, you would think that whether it's two parties that evolve or five parties, it would be an organic thing, like you had in the NPN, GNPP, UPN days.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the leadership of these other political parties. They are virtually just there, maybe as satellites for the existing political parties. Some of them were registered by the big parties, to use as fronts. So they just dance to the tune of the bigger parties that register them.
Or just wait,
and that's why it's very easy for many people to just move from PDP and then move to any other party. We need a party of workers, a party of the people. And it has to be led by people that are genuinely committed. And I think that vacuum is there. And that's why we see when people go to vote, when there's voting, like in Ekiti State now, we have about 753,000 registered voters. At the end of the day, less than 300,000 people come out to vote. Because there is a kind of illusion. People are disillusioned. People get registered, but they don't see hope in the structure, in the political structure. So a political party needs to come out to fill this vacuum, to galvanize the people based on ideology, based on ideas. I personally believe it's never too late.
Okay, we have to leave it here now. The Executive Director, Journalist for Democratic Rights, Adewale Adeoye. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.